Hey, welcome to the DVB channel. I know this is a late video, but let's talk about the huge announcement that Bandai made last week for the Digimon TCG on the new rules and new cards. Starting off with the Mulligan rule, we are finally receiving the Mulligan in Digimon TCG and it's definitely welcome. Late but better than never. For those who are unsure how the Mulligan works, the Mulligan allows you to reshuffle your starting hand into the deck and hoping for a better starting hand. Do note that you can only do it once, of course. Next, we also have a new battle flow. Now, to make it easier to understand, let's go through it step by step. So, step 1, play a Digimon declares an attack. It's straightforward. Now, for step 2, the Digimons when attacking effect do activate here. And for the step 3, this is where the new counter timing comes into play. Player B can actually activate the Blast Digivolve triggered by the player's A Digimon attack. Step 4, of course, the on evolve ability activates. Of course, step 5, the block timing is at here now. This means opponent have to anticipate your counter before committing their moves and get punished by the block. And of course, lastly, the battle resolve as per normal. So what cards will have the new counter keyword is actually the newly introduced ace cards. Now before we move on to what the ace card can actually do, let's take note of some things. Firstly, the ace is not part of the name. So this is important because it will mean that it will not affect cards such as World X, where it specifically need to digivolve on top of a World. Feel free to evolve to your Evolution X without any restrictions. Next, it has a cheap hard play cost. A Mega Digimon with a 6 cost hard play is actually mind-blowing to have. This could be the return of the Mega Zoo. Easily digivolve to your level 7 Omimon with these new ace cards. Now, ace cards are also in the Ultimate Digimon form and they are a 4 cost to hard play. Talk about insane value. Now let's take a look at the card text itself for the Ace Digimon. They have the new Blast Digivolve, which allows you to Digivolve for free during your opponent turn if you are able to do so. Hence, you need the necessary level Digimon prior to the Digivolution. They have forgot to mention that it was for free. Talk about a good counter. However, with all these new benefits, it is only reasonable for a huge consequence, and that comes in the form of overflow. Now, overflow are in every ace card currently, and they are basically memory that you lose when the ace Digimon do leave the field. It can be either by bouncing to hand, going back to deck, or even going to security. Now, there are a way to compensate your opponent to having to deal with such a cheap hard play cost Digimon, and of course, that zero cost Blast Evolution. Now, to better explain how the overflow works, let's talk about some scenarios. Firstly, removal cards such as Gaia Force, for example, instantly becomes cheaper to cast because you do lose memory when your Digimon gets retired, essentially making the caster option cheaper. 4 cost Gaia Force? Sign me up. Next, memory blockers such as Gazimon will not be able to stop this overflow. Losing memory is not gaining memory, and there is something to take note. Lastly, overflow does not proc when you evolve to a level 7 Digimon, for example. As long as the ace card stays on the field, overflow does not trigger. However, if somehow your ace Digimon get detached by cards from blue, for example, overflow will also trigger. Finally, let's take a look at these new ace cards. Now, first off, we have the new World Ace. Honestly, a pretty good introduction to this new whole ace mechanic and how counter works in the new battle flow. You can evolve to a World Ace during your opponent's turn and turning the Digimon into a blocker which can block immediately. This helps to punish your opponent who are not careful of the new Blast Digivolve. It also helps to play aggressively with new standing effect. Then let's not forget it can actually evolve on top of the Red Metagreymon due to its special black box text. World X is definitely back with this new card. Next, we also have the Metagreymon Ace. Now, a very different take from World Ace for sure. It allows you to gain memory during your opponent's turn, which can actually cause a turn to pass over very easily. More often than not, OTK decks will be at 0 memory and go for their game. However, with the new Metagreymon Ace, your opponent will actually have to be worried about a new Hammer Spark in security, but in a hand form. Firstly, Metagreymon Ace. Now, 4 cost to hard play and 8k DP is quite a beast, and it also has the Blast Digivolution mechanic. Destroying a 6k Digimon can actually ruin games if opponents are not careful. Next, we do have Zudomon Ace. Now, this is one of my personal favorite for sure. Being able to trash your opponent's Digivolution cards, which can actually ruin some ESS gameplay and also bouncing cards to hand. Similarly, it has the same 4 cost hard play and of course 8k DP. And we got to have the OG Magnamon Ace. Now, Magnamon Ace is pretty much what you expected. You can actually recover during your opponent's turn now and also applying a 1k debuff for each security. However, what is nice now is that they don't forget to actually hard restrict the recovery by only allowing you to actually recover when you have 5 or less security with this new Magnamon Ace. Lastly, to wrap it all off, we actually have Lilymon Ace. Now, green doing green things basically. Suspending your opponent Digimon with the Blast Digivolve and also bottom decking your opponent. Now this could be what green actually needs. So with all these new rules and mechanic, what can we actually expect moving forward? Firstly, Digimon is here for the long run. This is exciting to know because we do know the new mechanics and the rules will actually add new flavors to the game. We can expect more interactive games in the future to come, and it's something that Digimon TCG actually previously lacked. Next, OTK decks are actually no longer as strong as before. Similarly to what I mentioned just now, you can now actually better interact with your opponent rather than just playing solitaire. Lastly, we can actually also expect less tricky games. Games that require you to hard play at level 5 turn 1 is just not fun, and I would imagine most will actually have faced the same situation. Now with this new Mulligan rule in place, we can actually expect a better overall experience. So thank you guys for watching till the end, and do consider subscribing, dropping a like and a comment if you guys do enjoy the content.